What's up, guys? Ricky here. Do you love Most Valuable Podcasts? And are you like myself where things that you like, you just have to let people know because they've got to be on your t-shirt at all times? If you do, you're in luck because we got Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts. You've probably seen myself, Dave, Mark, Sean, Brandon. You might have seen us wearing these t-shirts in videos. The good thing is now you can get your hands on one too. How do you do so? First off, send us an email, mostvaluablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us your name, your size, your address. We will then send you an invoice through Square. That's how you'll pay for it, $22 per shirt. And then after we get the money, we will send you a great Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt for you to wear so you can tell everybody that you love listening to Most Valuable Podcasts. So go check it out. The directions are also in the description. What are you waiting for? We got the shirts just for you. But Mark, let's close out the mock draft part of our podcast before we get into the arguably the most, like, we've got a jam-packed show. I mean, we're talking AFC, NFC championship games right after our mock draft.
Nobody cares about that.
No one cares. It's all about the mock draft. Going through now 22 through 32, rounding this whole shindig up. We'll start with you. Take us through your picks, starting with the Bills via the Chiefs at 22.
Yep. Nice cliffhanger for Bills fans out there. They were forced to watch two videos. But Rashaan Evans, linebacker out of Alabama. For the Rams, I'm going to give you your cornerback, Carlton Davis out of Auburn. Now 24, Panthers, Cortland Sutton, wide receiver, SMU. 25, Clelin Ferrell, defensive end. Farrell. It's just too much name going on here.
At least we got the first name right this time.
That's true. Then, of course, another one from Clemson, 26, Christian Wilkins, defensive line. Ronnie Harrison, the safety out of Alabama, going for the Saints. Now here I got the successor to Big Ben, the Steelers drafting Lamar Jackson, the quarterback out of Louisville. For the Jaguars, I'm giving you Orlando Brown, offensive tackle, Oklahoma. Eagles, Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, Virginia Tech. And 31, friend of the podcast, Mo Hurst, going to the New England Patriots, defensive lineman out of Michigan. And this one, I'm not sure if you'll be that happy about this one, but I think it's a good pick. Vikings, Billy Price.
It's a very good pick. Thank you. Thank you for that. Like, I saw that one. I saw Billy Price, and I was like, I can dig it.
Look,
I can dig a guard center because that's arguably two positions that we could need going into next year. What was it? I think our line has been. Was it our line this year that was so banged up? I think our line's been banged up this year.
It has been banged up, but not as bad as it's been in the past.
I know that center is one of the positions that people have thought about. And at 32, if the Vikings are so gracious to be there by winning the Super Bowl, then that's a position that we could go.
You could lose the Super Bowl and trade back to 32.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. However, we'll go through mine starting at 22 with the Bills going with Daron bringing the pain, defensive tackle from Alabama. Then Christian Wilkins, defensive lineman from Clemson, going to the LA Rams. Carolina Panthers going with the wide receiver from OK State, James Washington. Then at number 25, the Titans going with Clelin Ferrell, the defensive end from Clemson. Number 26, the Atlanta Falcons going with friend of the show, Mo Hurst, defensive line from Michigan. Then the New Orleans Saints going with the quarterback now from OK State, Mason Rudolph. Then the Steelers going Tremaine Edmonds, inside linebacker, Virginia Tech. Jaguars go wide receiver from Texas A&M, Christian Kirk. The Eagles go with Martinez Rankin, offensive tackle from Mississippi State. The Patriots at 31 go Isaiah Oliver, cornerback from Colorado. And my Minnesota Vikings, hopefully they're picking at 32 because they won the Super Bowl in their home stadium, go with Chukwumba Okafor. That was one where I'm like, crap, we didn't prep that one. Chukwumba Okafor, offensive tackle, Western Michigan University. So, first team I want to mention.
Cool.
Carolina Panthers. Claw up. We both have them going wide receiver. This is the interesting part. I have my number one wide receiver off the board is Sutton. Yours was Washington. Our second wide receiver, both going to the Panthers. I'm Washington. You're Sutton.
Yeah. Well, Calvin Ridley already happened.
I'm saying besides those. Calvin Ridley is he's consensus number one. I'm talking
Yeah.
about after Calvin Ridley. What was going through your mind, wide receiver for the Panthers? You're probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, deep threat is really what you're going to get out of either one of these guys. Cam Newton really needs someone he can throw the ball to.
He needs someone more than Devin Funchess.
Yeah. He desperately needs something to help him out here.
Because I'm sorry, Clay blew them the playoffs. He dropped that pass in the end zone in the first quarter, lost them the game right there.
For sure.
They're done. They're done.
You know, I like both these guys. I mean, Sutton's going to be a little bigger, a little taller. Honestly, they're probably going to be about the same speed. Washington might be a little bit faster. The thing that scares me with James Washington a little bit is the question of, you know, he played in a spread, and did he get to take advantage of weaker defenses?
I mean, the Big 12, they don't play defense.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what the thing always is for me. But I like both these guys. The thing I like a lot about James Washington is I hate to say it as a Chicago Bears fan, but I love, you know, a guy like Randall Cobb who can be a little tricky and can play a little bit more running back. And I think you get a little bit out of James Washington because he is a little bit smaller. He is a little skinnier, but still a fast type of guy. And I think that's going to be something that's going to help him out. That's kind of what pushed him a little bit higher for me. I mean, his stats are fantastic. You're thrilled with that. Got great hands. Neither one of these guys are anyone you're going to be upset about. So if you're sitting there as a Panthers fan and you're saying, well, you're talking all this good stuff about James Washington, but you gave us Cortland Sutton. No, that's a really good deep threat as well. You know, a guy who totally deserved to come out even early because I think he's got one more year left of eligibility technically, but for sure decided, no, screw it. I'm coming out now because I'm ready to go.
Well, the thing that I don't like about most of the wide receivers right now in the first round is Calvin Ridley. I got to find his exact height, but Cortland Sutton is a guy where he's about 6'4", 6'5", where it's like, give me that kind of a wide receiver. Give me a taller guy that I can go out there, throw the ball to. Like Calvin Ridley just wanted to get, 6'1". So give me a guy over 6 foot, and I can work with that. 6'4" is perfect because throw the ball up. He can even go and get it.
They were supposed to have Kelvin Benjamin.
The only thing, and they traded him. The only thing I don't like about Washington, Christian Kirk falls into this, and I think it's Anthony, the wide receiver from Memphis. I'm blanking on his name off the top of my head. They're all 5'11", 5'10", and it's like I was talking to Brandon on Monday, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and I was like, you know, I get that like Wes Welker made a living, but if you're gonna be one of my top 2 wide receivers on the outside, I don't want you being 5'11". I don't want you being sub 6 foot because I want you to be taller so that you can go up and grab the ball. Sure. Unless you have like an insane vertical.
Well, James Washington is 6'1".
Is he?
Yeah.
Because right now I'm looking at...
That's what I got for him.
I am looking at and this is a discrepancy, and I know people are going to get mad at us for this. I'm looking at ESPN's Insider, where they have the height. They have him at 5'10" and 7/8". So almost 5'11" is what they have James Washington. They could be wrong. They could be wrong, and he could be 6 foot.
Well, let's go to the ultimate source.
NFL.com?
Sure.
Okay. I didn't know which one you were pulling up.
I was going to honestly just pull up whoever came up first in my Google search. And
well, Mark does that.
And let them be it.
The thing with the Panthers, why I had them going James Washington, was the same thing. You need someone besides Devin Funchess to catch the ball. Like, you went ahead and Ted Ginn Jr., you let him walk. He didn't want, that's the thing. Ted Ginn didn't want to leave Carolina. You just didn't offer him a contract, so he had to leave. That's why he was in New Orleans and caught that 80-yard pass against you. Then you go ahead and trade Calvin Benjamin. It's like, what do you want Cam Newton to do? Run the ball every time and get his head clocked off every time? He probably won't because he's a big-bodied guy and he'd inflict just as much pain as anyone trying to inflict him would do. But you need a quality number 2. That's why I go with James Washington. What did your research tell you?
From 3 different sites, which just besides ESPN, the next 3 that came up, 6 feet. 6 feet.
Foot? So
that's what
ESPN's
they got for
wrong?
all 3.
Okay.
I mean, not by much. I think it was what they say
5'11"
5'11" and 3.
5'10" and 7/8.
Okay, so a little bit
So
off.
basically 5'11" is
They were
what
an
they're
inch
saying.
off.
So, I mean, the big thing then is, I'll get into this rant now, it's Christian Kirk and the wide receiver from Memphis, where those guys are sub 6 foot. And that's the main reason why I have Washington ahead of them and why I have the Panthers going with Washington. Let's go to your hot pick. We're gonna go. We're gonna go with the Steelers. We'll go with your hot pick, then we'll go with my hot pick.
All right.
We'll go with yours, the Steelers. I love this pick from you, although I couldn't do it myself because all 6 quarterbacks that I could see in the first round were gone at this point.
Crazy. 6 quarterbacks. Not that I'm that far away from it, but Lamar Jackson, I like him. He's good. He's talented. He's got a lot of skills. He can be good in the NFL. You were talking about it of, how he just needs a little time, and that's exactly what he would
Tyrod
get.
Taylor treatment. I mean, Tyrod 4 years in Baltimore, then signed that contract in Buffalo, and really it's the Tyrod Taylor, you're either for him or against him. There's no one in between on Tyrod.
And I think this will be a good one because Big Ben's probably got 1 more year.
Maybe 2.
In Lamar Jackson, there's zero hurry to get him out there and force him to play. So I think it's a great fit. I think it'll work very well for the Steelers. They have to start thinking about the future because once again, not making it to the Super Bowl, you did not have a strong showing. You thought you'd just be able to ignore the Jaguars and go to Foxborough. It didn't happen.
Yeah, Le'Veon.
And
It's gonna be great having 2 rematches, right? With the Jaguars and the couch.
Exactly. It's time to think about the future. Even though Big Ben will be back next year, it's time to think about what it's going to be like without him.
Well, and that's like with me with the Steelers. Like, part of me was like, if Lamar Jackson was there, I think in my first mock, I did have them go with Lamar Jackson, just like yourself. Yeah, I had them, the very last pick of our first mock draft, go with Lamar Jackson. So I saw you make that pick, and I was like, I'm right for you. It's funny, though, that you and I flipped from the first mock draft because in number 1, I had Lamar Jackson to the Steelers. You had Roquan Smith to the Steelers. Now we flipped. You've gone quarterback. I've gone Tremaine Edmonds. And the reason why I'm going with Edmonds to the Steelers is because one of the biggest losses that your team had this season was Ryan Shazier. And prayers to Ryan Shazier. Hope he makes a full recovery. The signs are good right now. I believe he was at the Jacksonville game cheering on the Steelers from the press box. But the thing is, when you lost Ryan Shazier, your defense took a huge step back. You were missing something. You were missing a presence on the inside of that linebacking core.
Definitely, yeah.
You got to fill that. Like, this team you've got the weapons on. What you proved to me in that game against Jacksonville, besides being poorly coached, because I'm just saying it here, a guy like Bill Belichick doesn't let his team look past an opponent for that next one, or doesn't make it public.
Sure.
Like, if you're looking past a team, don't give them bulletin board. We say it all the time. Don't give them bulletin board material. And that's exactly what they let the Jaguars have, is bulletin board material. Like, I was driving to the podcast tonight, and on ESPN radio here in Chicago, they mentioned that Calais Campbell was like, I don't care if it's 2-0 or 45-42. And that's what the score ended up being, was 45-42. My point is, besides being poorly coached, because I think Mike Tomlin should be gone, you need an inside presence. You need to help that defense out, because the offense in that game proved to me that you can put up 42 points against the Jacksonville team. You have no problem scoring with the Killer Bees. You need to shore up that defense and fix a hole that you had lost due to an injury to Ryan Shazier. So that's why I go with Edmonds over a quarterback, besides all the quarterbacks being off. Now let's go to the flip side, the team right above them in the Saints. I'm right alongside with you. You know how you had Lamar Jackson going to the Steelers because of the whole successor thing? I think that the Saints could go Mason Rudolph at 27 to basically say we are drafting Drew Brees' successor right here in the first round.
You know, the Saints were incredibly close to playing this week.
They should have.
For a conference
let's be honest. They probably should have been playing.
The game should have been theirs, and it didn't work out. It's fate.
I just want to say, though, I was... What did I say?
I knew you were going to do it.
I was right.
You were going to do it. It was a dumb defensive mistake.
And an inexperienced defense was going to mess up in the playoffs.
And it was bad. And now they just... wrote the contract for Case Keenum.
Yep.
For his next team. It'll be I'm really excited to see how Minnesota handles the quarterback situation in the offseason. That's going to be very exciting.
Especially if Case Keenum wins us a Super Bowl.
They have zero interest in paying that man. But it's going to be exciting to see. For me, it kind of just goes to one thing. The offense is doing great. The defense is a strength as well. 1 year older is going to be nice for them, but the other side is just continue to improve. And Ronnie,
you're talking about the Saints now.
For the Saints,
okay.
Yeah. Ronnie
I was like,
Harrison,
we're not still talking about the Vikings now.
No, the Vikings defense sucks.
Okay.
Ronnie Harrison, I think, it's definitely a great pick. I mean, Alabama secondary, any Alabama defense, anything you're going to be thrilled with. But Alabama secondary.
People were saying, like early in the year, we were saying, the defense ain't the same. Then in the playoff, they showed us that Alabama's defense is just fine.
Alabama's defense is never going anywhere. It is here to stay for as long as Nick Saban is here to stay. But yeah, I mean, this might be a little bit of a reactionary or something like that, where you see that play and.
Marcus Williams made a mistake. Okay, Harrison, it's your job now.
Have fun, buddy. But no, I mean, I definitely think that there's a lot of good things going on with the Saints. You could totally try and get the successor. I don't blame you for that, but just making that defense a tad bit tighter is pretty good. Pretty happy with that.
The one thing with the Saints that I'm surprised with your pick, and maybe it's because of the talent here with the cornerbacks, I'm surprised that you had them go with a safety because they have Von Bell, they have Marcus Williams, who besides that one play is not a bad player. He just made one stupid mistake.
Well, he's dead to me now.
Yeah, he's dead to you now. Arguably, the guy I would look to replace is Ken Crawley. Maybe Saints fans disagree with me, but yeah, some of those penalties, like in both games, Panthers and Vikings, he was a guy that loved to be in the middle of pass interference calls. I'm sure he didn't love it, but he was in the middle of a ton of pass interference calls. So to me, that's the only surprise that I had. On my side, like I said, is this the year that the Saints go, we are going to draft Drew Brees' successor? Because Drew Brees showed us something in the playoffs. I'm not done. I am not done. I can play just as long as Tom Brady. And if it wasn't for my young rookie defense, I would have been going to another NFC Championship game.
And let's be honest, a Super Bowl.
Yeah, a Super Bowl, because Philly's not going to win. However, you give them the wide receivers. Michael Thomas is the number 1. Ted Ginn was a great addition.
Yeah.
Willie Snead, great at number 3. The running backs, this team's going to be great offensively. Both Kamara and Ingram as a 1-2 punch. It's either, to me, defense or drafting the successor for Drew Brees. I almost said Mark Ingram. For Drew Brees with the Saints. Any team in this last 22 through 32 that you think we didn't hit that you think we should hit?
I think potentially the Jaguars were sitting there hoping that Lamar Jackson fell just one more.
Really?
So they could. The Jaguars don't want anything to do with Blake Bortles.
Really?
I know everyone is sitting there watching him against the Steelers, and they're like, "Oh, Blake Bortles, nice." No, fuck Blake Bortles. Did you watch his season? He was fucking terrible this season. He was bad, Ricky. Don't really about Blake Bortles. He was bad.
I'm only asking because I'm actually going to try to find it because today I was on my Twitter just kind of perusing through, and I got to look up the exact site. It was the fan-sided site for their Jacksonville Jaguars.
Sure.
And they had an interesting tweet, Black and Teal. Black, and I'm going to look it up right now.
And it was probably Blake
Twitter.
Bortles real good.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. Crap, can I not find it? I should have had this pulled up probably beforehand.
You didn't know I was going to bring up Blake Bortles?
I did not know you were going to bring it up. But basically what it was a picture. And it just said, it basically had like, Blake Bortles won't win the starter job. Okay, he won't lead him to the playoffs. Okay, he won't do this. He won't do that. And like it's like right here.
Let's be honest.
Here's what it is. So here's what it's got. Here's what it reads. It's a picture that says Bortles won't win the starting QB job. Bortles won't make it through the entire season as the starting QB. Bortles won't make the Jags competitive this year. Bortles won't take the Jags to a winning record. Bortles won't take the Jags to the playoffs. Bortles won't lead the Jags to an AFC South title.
People are giving Bortles a lot of credit for things that his team did and dragged him to.
Good defense as well.
Yeah.
Bortles won't win a playoff game.
And also Leonard Fournette.
Wait. Bortles won't beat Big Ben in Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Then it says you are here, and the last three are Bortles won't beat Brady in Foxborough.
Which I would love to see happen.
Bortles won't win the Super Bowl, and Bortles won't win the Super Bowl MVP. I almost quoted that tweet and said, well, yeah, he's not going to win the Super Bowl MVP. Case Keenum's already locked his name on that.
I just think that, I mean, just literally a week ago, the world is saying bench his ass and fire him. All of a sudden, they have a good game. Oh, hey, Blake Bortles. I knew he was the best quarterback from day one.
I will say this. Against the Steelers, he looked a lot better than he did against the Bills.
Oh, 100%.
But the Bills' defense, I would say, is better than the Steelers' defense at this point in the year.
Yeah, and the Steelers' defense, who were sleeping on this team. They were not ready to play football
They were looking.
that day.
They were looking forward to the Patriots.
I mean, people want to give a lot of credit to Blake Bortles all of a sudden when he didn't do shit.
Is this where we play the clip of the late Dennis Green where it's, you want to crown their asses? Crown their asses!
Yeah, we should. We should. Yeah, Blake Bortles, no. But, I didn't give that to them because there's nothing there. They get an offensive tackle. But, Orlando Brown, who fell quite a bit for me for my draft.
One team I do want to mention is the Falcons, because there were a few mock drafts I was looking at that had them go wide receiver, but both you and I sticking clean with not just a defensive tackle or defensive end. We both went with guys who could play either for them, an inside or an outside presence.
Yeah, and
I had friend of the show, Mo Hurst. You were going with Wilkins from Clemson.
And I think that's important. I think the versatility is really great for the Falcons. And, that defense is better than people kind of thought this year. That team should hopefully get back to being better than people saw for a lot of the year. But, yeah, versatility there is going to be huge.
What's funny also for the Falcons is same thing like with Blake Bortles the week before. I have never seen so many tweets about getting rid of Matt Ryan. I just don't
silly.
think, why would you get rid of Matt Ryan? You've got a starting quarterback.
It's just that
I'll give you I'll give you Sam Bradford for Matt Ryan.
It's one of those times where you sit there and if you're a fan of Cleveland or if you're a fan of the Jets, you're sitting there
the
going,
Broncos.
Hey, shut up. I would take him.
Maybe even the Giants.
He's better than what we got right now. I'd take him.
Maybe the Redskins, they would also be like, hey, I'd take Matt Ryan. At least Matt Ryan's under contract.
I'd say there's at least 20 teams out there that are saying, Matt Ryan? Yeah, we'll take him.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below about our picks from 22 to 32. And if your favorite team falls in here, who would you be taking for your favorite team in the NFL draft?